Hey, this is Jason Durkin. We're here at Ketch headquarters. We're going to walk you through my PA-14. So salmon season's here. I had to get out on the water quick. I reached out to Jake over at Ketch. I'm going to turn it over to him to tell you what they've done.
So I took on Jason's build as my first customer build. With me doing the research and development, it made sense to overview his boat and figure out what products would work best for him. So I'm going to walk you guys through the front to the back of what we put on his boat. So the first thing we put on the bow here was our Ketch quick release, which is mounted to the trolling motor itself. And we also put on our Ketch PA-14 motor mount. This item mounts to the bottom of the trolling motor with 6 screws, and it's dovetailed to the bow here. So it just slides right on. And you can just clip it here, and voila. So Jason went with the Garmin 12-inch unit, and he made sure to get the new LVS 34 live scope. So we went into the front here, the hatch, and we mounted a plate to keep his black box off the bottom here. So we've got the black box mounted to the plate here, tied to the sail mount in the back. So up front here, a lot of the wiring, I had to be cognizant of the trolling motor, which is the 12 volt running on the 6-gauge wire, and the black box itself. Since we have 2 batteries, we didn't want interference, so I kept the trolling motor wires on the left side of the boat, and on the right side of the boat, he has all his accessory lights. So up front here, you'll see on the rod tube delete plates, his voltmeter, his USB ports, and all the wiring up to the center of the boat where his switches are. So another product on Jason's boat here, that Ketch Krossbar. It's mounted to the Jake plates, which are named after me. We highly recommend going with the Jake plates because they're both aluminum, and it gives you that, rigid strength when you want to mount big grafts like this 12-inch unit right here. So another nice component here is the DuBro nuts, which is just a 1/4-20 T-stud. I'm going to go ahead and get back into tying in the central power here and buttoning up the battery box. I got to drop the Z, so I got to bring the needle to the material, and then I can start cutting. Like that. It's like a glove.
And then this is for your phone.
Do we have a white box here anyplace?
That functionality adds anything.
You can use double-sided.
So with Jason fishing on Lake Michigan a lot, it made sense for us to put rod tube delete plates on both sides. With the bigger waves, you want to make sure that you're not taking water in through those leaky spots. So on this side, which the left side, we put the Marinco plug, so he can easily plug in his trolling motor right here. And then on the other side here, we have the USB port, the cigarette outlet, and the voltmeter, which can be turned on by this switch right here. So that's the first switch on his black box, and he's got power to his cigarette outlet and USB port. So on the 4 switches on his black box here, the navigation lights is the 3rd one. So once we flip this on, you'll see on the bow, he's got the red and green lights. So one of the newer products, it's the H-rail mount, just like the one we have for the Scotty mount, but this is an adapter plate for the light whip. Jason's able to take the light whip on and off easily so he doesn't have to travel with it. So the fourth switch in the box is for Jason's cab lights. We went with red because red is the easiest on your eyes at night when you're salmon fishing out on the lake at night a lot. So it made sense to also tuck them as high as I could underneath the Jake plate so you wouldn't get as much glare into your eyes directly. Number 2 would be the cab light, so you can switch on the red lights from here. So the last switch on the box is for Jason's black box up front here. We kept it on a separate switch because that unit's going to be the thing that pulls out the most power out of your battery. So with the switch on the unit itself here, he's able to turn that on and off with no problem. But with the switch down here, if he switches it off, he'll be able to save power and not use his live scope the whole time. He can go back to his normal transducer that's directly underneath him. So here's the black box switch. You won't notice anything turn on until you turn on the Garmin unit itself. So both the Garmin unit and the live scope box itself have fuses, and we also tucked the fuses inside the box here to make sure that they're nice and waterproof. So another product that's been gaining a lot of popularity is the H-rail mount. And right here, Jason's got the Stealth base mounted to it. Right now, it does not exactly line up with ours. An important thing to note is that the Stealth rod holder is compatible with the Scotty base. You can maneuver it in and it'll give it a snug fit. So when it came to the H-rail mount, my personal favorite, the Lake Troller, is what gave me the idea to make this design for the H-rail. The Lake Troller is a small compact downrigger that can be easily mounted to the kayak and easy to use when you're fishing those 60 to 80 foot depths in Lake Michigan. To match the hard coat motor mount, Jake plates, and H-rail mounts, we also added the hard coat tiller handles to Jason's boat with the Wanko knobs. To get the Fisher live scope mount attached to the boat, we ended up repurposing the H-rail mount where I flush mount drilled these 1/4 20 screws into the plate itself. When not in use, Jason's able to pull the live scope unit up and he stows it on his rod holders right here. So this is also the crossbar that's mounted to the front of the Jake plates up there. We repurposed it to go across the back here, which it also ties into the seat holder here. So you got 4 mounting spots. You got the 2 here and the 2 screws on each end. So Jason keeps his milk crate up front here, and then he's got his black box here with both batteries in it. He's got a 12 volt 136 and a 12 volt 46 amp hour Dakota lithium battery. We kept these separate again because we didn't want any interference between the graph and the trolling motor itself. So let's go ahead and take a look in here and see what we wired up. So what I did was I kept the poles away from each other to make sure that there was no interference. And on this side, he's got direct power to all his accessory units where it just plugs in there. So on the 12 volt 136 side of the battery, we wired up a Marinco plug down here, which is also, there's also a voltmeter and a USB port with a cigarette outlet that's tied to a switch. And then here he can plug in his Marinco plug to the batteries, so then he'll get power to the trolling motor. We put a 10 amp heat fuse on the 46 amp hour, and then on the 12 volt 135 we have a 60 amp fuse tucked below the cables. So here's the second half of the pigtail for the trolling motor. The wires that are running through Jason's boat plugs into the Marinco plug right here. And then this is also his power to his 12 volt 46 amp hour, and then we ran through the same plug his light whip. So far out of the 6 kayaks that I built, this is by far my favorite. You know, collaborating with Irv and the other team members here to get this wrapped up in a timely manner, we managed to get it done within 2 weeks, and we got Jason on the water, and he was stoked with the way it turned out. So we have one last thing to wrap it up, to put the cherry on top. We're going to be adding marine mat to this boat to give it that nice sleek look.
Okay, here we are. Jake just wrapped up the marine mat. So I'm coming from an Ascend 133X to a extremely rigged out Hobie Pro Angler 14. So some of the things I liked about the boat and needed about the boat was the live scope. I definitely needed the Ultra 12-inch monitor and the XI3 GPS. I've got a more efficient, better looking, capable boat for big water. And ultimately, it's going to enhance my experience on the water. Thanks for watching the video. See you on the water. Tight lines.